But you can't do that on the outside, you know, because people got freedom of speech, you know, and you got options. You don't have the options in prison. You know, you can walk away on the outside and you're not going to get judged for it. But in prison, if you walk away from a situation like that, everybody's going to start doing it to you. You look weak. You're around everybody. You know, they look at that. Yeah, you know, I like being a bandit. I was never a bandit. Hell no. Hell no. Like, I ain't gonna lie, you know, for somebody that does that, you know, that's on you. But nah, I ain't with that, you know. I ain't with that at all. I don't care if I was in prison for like 50 years. I'm not doing that. But I did see people that were known for doing it, you know, and they looked crazy. I talked about it on one of these live streams, but there was this one dude. He was like, it was a black guy. He was like 5. He was a short dude too, but he was like one of them stocky dudes, you know. And like he had an afro, but like half of his afro was like bald. You know, he had like patches. He looked crazy. Man, that's all he would talk about is like taking booty, man. Kind of, it reminded me of that guy that be on YouTube. What's his name? That was on Boondocks and stuff. I forgot his name, but the old man. That's who he reminds me of. We had this other inmate. His name was Ashley. That's what everybody called him. It was a big ass white dude. He was like 6'2", huge. They said when he got when the cops brought him in, he was in a muumuu dress, you know, and he had fake breast on and everything, and had a wig. He's about that life, right? That's why his name's Ashley. He was bragging about going into the cell with that dude. I was like, what the hell? And he was sitting there talking out the cell, and he was like, man, we can take our mattresses, our mats, take them off the bed, and they used to put them on the floor and put them together. And you know, yeah, it's crazy in there. And you know, they was, man, he be out that cell door. I remember Ashley was in segregation, right? The dude Ashley. That's what I'm calling him because I don't know his other name. All I know him is by Ashley. He was in segregation, a whole different part of the jail, and we were yelling out the window. And the one booty bandit guy, he was in the cell next to me, and he was sitting there saying the craziest things out the window. He was sitting there like you'd be hollering at a woman. Man, that's what he was doing out the back window. Everybody was like, man, shut the hell up. He was behind the door. That's how you know you're a booty bandit. He couldn't be in the cell with nobody else because the COs knew his reputation. So they kept him in a cell all by himself. Ice, you have folks. And yeah, that's the thing about it, the smells. I talked about it in my last video, them smells in prison and jail. Whew, I'm telling you, it's bad. That you go into the shower and there's mold all in the shower and shit. Man, it stinks, man. Imagine going into a locker room. I mean, if you go to a locker room at like a gym or something, there's probably like 30 guys in and out of there, and then it gets cleaned up. Imagine at a prison, man, there's like hundreds of guys going into them showers. And then, you know, the cleaning materials that they give us bleach, but it'll be watered down. So you're not really killing nothing. Yeah, jail is bad. You know, I don't want anybody to think I'm trying to glorify jail. I get on here talking about prison and jail because I don't want to see anybody else go through it. Because that's one thing I can't remember. You know, I said it before, but I remember when I was going in there, I didn't have any idea. Like, I didn't have any idea what I was getting myself into. The only thing I knew is like, you see cops and you see like the jail shows and stuff. Man, it's different being in there. I'm telling you, it's different. And then depending on which jail or prison you go to, you're going to have a different experience. Like, let's say you go to the Baltimore prison, Baltimore jail. Their jail is worse than some prisons. What knife do you carry now? Oh, I just have a little pocket knife. Well, I ain't really supposed to have nothing because I'm on paper still. Because when I got out of prison, where do you get protein to get jacked in jail? Protein? I guess you just get it off the commissary list. they don't have like protein shakes and nothing like that. But like a lot of people that work out and stuff, they'll order a lot of tuna and stuff. I do remember seeing people that had like they were like Arnold Schwarzenegger up. I mean, they were built. You know what I mean? And they all tell me that they eat stuff like tuna, fish for high protein, like that. They try to stay away from like noodles and stuff. Yeah, I mean, when I was in jail, I tried to work out. You know, I did because when you're in a gang or something, you got to work out. It's mandatory. You ain't got no choice about it. But when you're you know, trying to get fit, you want to eat a lot of tuna and stuff. I went to prison for first degree assault. I had like 2 first degree assaults. He got protein from Tyrone. Yo, stop making these homosexual jokes. Like I don't. That is crazy. Cause trust me, man, when you go to jail and prison, you're not gonna be thinking about no homosexual shit. Like you talk about stuff like that, man, you're liable to get beat up. Red Onion is a prison in Virginia. It's a high max prison. And you know, that's where if you go to prison, a regular prison, a medium secure, you know, you get into a altercation, you stab somebody, this is the kind of place they're going to send you to. You know, if you stab people, assault correctional officers, you get sent to maximum security. Ice, thanks for the donation. What books you read in prison? I'm not gonna lie. When I was in jail, I didn't read books in prison. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe 1 or 2, but when I was in jail, you know, there's nothing to do in jail at all. And when I was in jail, I got my aunt to send me was it Percy Jackson? I think that's what it's called. He had all Percy Jackson. It's like I forgot what it was about. It's like his dad was like Poseidon or something. It was some like mythological shit or whatever. But I was reading that books like that, like fantasy books. I was reading a lot of those. Red Onion Randy is the man. Oh yeah, yeah. I seen Red Onion Randy on Facebook. I mean not Facebook, on YouTube. And I was trying to get an interview with him, but he's hard to get in touch with. You know, I think he's got life or something, some crazy shit. You able to smoke weed? Hell no, you can't smoke weed. And I mean, you can if it's around. You know, you can buy it. They got instead of grass, they got K2 in there. It's synthetic weed, and basically people spray it on paper, and they'll get it into the prison. It's easy to conceal, easy to get in. That's why people do it. There's like where I'm from on the East Coast, there's 2 main drugs in prison, and that's Suboxone, little orange strips. They give it to people trying to get off of like heroin and like Fetty and stuff. And then you got the K2. And I'm telling you, people that be selling that stuff in there, they be rich. What are Gen Z prisoners like? They're the worst. I'm not gonna lie, they're the worst. The worst of the worst. If you go to any compound you go to, they got different buildings, right? And like they'll try to stick the old people in like building 1. Like different buildings will get different reputations, right? So you know, building 1 is for like the people that has jobs, old people, and then building 2's got a reputation. It might be a lot of people to go to GED class. Then you always got a building they call gangland. Any prison you go to, there's always going to be some place they call gangland, and it's usually all young people. And why that is because young people, they come into prison and they got something to prove. You know, they haven't seen the horrors and stuff that the older people have seen. You know, the older people, they used to be like that, but they seen all the shit, you know, and they kind of smartened up. You know, they seen how to maneuver around. But the young people, they got something to prove. And, you know, those are the worst place to be. Now, when I was in prison, in my whole life, I was cripping. I ain't gonna lie. But I'm like, step back from that. I'm trying to have a normal life. And I wouldn't recommend recommend anybody join a gang, because at the end of the day, you know, you're doing for somebody else. You're always working for somebody else, and you ain't got nothing to show for it. All them years, you know, that I spent, you know, repping that shit, I ain't got nothing to show for it. Nothing. And when I went to prison, man, half of them didn't even pick up the phone for me. And then when I was in prison, I can tell you something true. I had like a month left before I was about to get released, and something happened with the Crips, and somebody owed them money. So they were trying to figure out who they going to send on this mission, you know, because the dude had to get stabbed or whatever. How about somebody try to vote me to go do it? I'm like, damn, I'm about to go home. What the fuck? Once you get motherfucking Ray, he got like 40 years. Why the fuck I got to do it? That shit don't make no sense, man. They don't want to see you go home. I mean, but not everybody's bad in it, but it's got like, I don't know. I won't recommend it for anybody though. I got stabbed twice. You really don't feel it. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. When I got stabbed one time, and when you get stabbed, it's like getting punched. When it goes in, you don't feel it at all. I ain't gonna lie, it feels like a punch. That's why you see a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people in prison, and you know, they be on a walk to chow or something, and somebody will come up on them and start stabbing them, and they don't realize they're getting stabbed at first. They'll be like, "What the heck?" And then they see the blood and shit, and they're like, "Oh shit!" And they start running. I ain't gonna lie, everybody starts doing that. Like, you're in a ruthless ass place, man. Everybody, when they start to get stabbed, they start running. They run in the grass, because when you're in prison, you gotta stay on the sidewalk. You got Anytime they let you out of the buildings, that we'll be in a line and we'll be walking to chow, and you have COs posted up at like every point. There'll be one CO at the entrance of the building, and then there'll be one halfway through, and you got COs everywhere. And once a CO sees somebody running into the grass, you know, they start calling codes and shit, and you start seeing COs running everywhere. Shout out to Crushy. How you doing, fam? I can fight. I prefer not to though. I ain't, but that's the thing though. When you go to prison, you got a lot of older people that ain't gonna fight. Like, they know damn well they can't fight no young person. So that's why they got weapons. I see. Thank you for that $2 donation. What were the Muslims like in prison? The Muslims, it's the Muslims. It's kind of weird to talk about, because, like, for me, they they're supposed to be a religion, but the way that they be moving, it'd be like a gang sometimes. You know, I ain't gonna lie, because you got the Bloods, the Crips, and then Muslims. You don't got, like, there's Christians in there, but you don't hear like Bloods, Crips, Christians. Never. The Muslims be deep. Like, you know, if you fuck with one of them, you know, you got an E-man. I think that's what they're called, E-men or something. That they are basically the leaders of the whole compound, but they be deep. I mean, they do their prayers, and you got some of them that came from like gangs and stuff, and they still try to do that mentality where they're trying to live life wrong, so they get into it with each other about that. But I was talking to Big Miz on here. He's a Muslim, and he was a Muslim in prison. And he told me anytime that somebody messes up in there, like the gangs, when you mess up with a gang, they bring you into a cell and they beat your body. Yeah, that's your punishment. And I'm not talking about no love taps. I'm talking about they're destroying your body. Like, you might get some broken ribs and everything. Now with the Muslims, I heard that they whoop them, kind of like, you know, some, it's like some slavery stuff. Like, they're whipping them with like whips and stuff. I guess with the belt. I don't know. Yeah, but they're pretty chill though. They do the prayers. I don't know how many times they do the prayers a day, but they be in their little corner doing their prayers. You know, they're not supposed to eat pork or whatever. See, it's hard because I don't want to disrespect somebody that's a Muslim. You know what I mean? I don't want to say like Muslims are a gang. It's a gang, but I mean it kind of is in there. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want. It's a religion. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know how to describe it. A lot of the young people though, man, they be trying to act tough in there, and some of them, you know, they be crashing out. The older people, they'll send them on dummy missions, and that's the saddest thing, man. Watching a young person get used up and sent on a dummy mission, it's crazy. Like for instance, there was like this young blood dude, right? He joined the Bloods and stuff. He on the outside he wasn't gang banking, but when he got to prison, he started hanging around a lot of Bloods, and they convinced him to you know come home with them. Man, they started sending him on dummy missions, you know, and like he was volunteering for the shit, like he wanted like something to prove. Man, he got sent off to another camp and everything. After the one mission they sent him on, he stabbed somebody, and it was, you know, it was stupid. He probably got extra charges and all that. But at the end of the day, I mean, he got sent to another camp. So he gets to another camp, and you know, he did all that to impress somebody, and he's not even around them anymore. But now his life is fucked up. You know, he's got to explain to his mom why he's not coming home when he's supposed to. He's got to explain to his girlfriend or whatever. You know, a girl is not going to wait for you forever out there. You know, they might wait if they really love you. They'll wait for you. But if you keep on fucking up, you know, I doubt that you're going to sit there and waste their whole life. You know. Oh yeah, I feel your pain, yo. I feel your pain. I was in a car accident before I got locked up, and I was in a bad car accident. Like these were my legs, right? I was sitting in the vehicle, and my one leg went and like went that way, so it broke like my tibia and fibia and all that. Man, they started giving me pain pills and stuff, and I got hooked on them things, like really bad. Like I said it before, but if I woke up and it was time to go to work and I didn't have any, I wasn't going. Man, I wasn't fucking with anybody. Yeah, it's crazy. But I ain't gonna lie, going to jail, it got me off all that. Cause if I was on the outside, I wasn't gonna stop. When you're on drugs, you gotta want to get off of it. Like you can have kids, you could be destroying your whole life, and you don't care because you're chasing, uh, you know, you're chasing the high. Yeah, I'm sober. I've been sober. Like I haven't took a pain pill and probably before I got locked up. Be honest with you, just before I got locked up. Pelican Bay is scary. I would not never recommend. Or Rikers. Hell yeah, those places they got reputations. Like man, if you ain't seen my interview I just did, you know how usually I come on YouTube Live and I do my interviews and they be face to face, right? I couldn't do it with this guy, but he's had such an interesting story. We did a phone interview and he was telling me all these crazy stories. He said that somebody owed some money and they was on like the second tier, you know, because they got stairs. You can go up to the second tier in a prison. So they took him and threw him off the tier. He landed on his head, and he said he witnessed it. He said his head exploded like like a watermelon. He said it was fucking crazy. You know, you see stuff like that in there, it change you. It'll mess you up. What time is live tomorrow? The live is at 10 o'clock Eastern time. I believe that's what time it's going to be. You know, I just messaged him like probably like a half an hour ago, and I told him that you know my viewers wanted to watch it live, and I told him 10 o'clock, so he gave me a thumbs up. Just got out of Lancaster myself. God bless. Yeah. Hey, going to prison and jail, it will make you start praying. I ain't gonna lie, it will make you. Man, I was in there. Hey, you see a lot of people be praying. Did you know a lot of people be praying to the devil in there? I'm not even bullshitting you. The prison and the jail, be handing out devil Bibles and shit. I couldn't believe it. I seen a couple people, they had these little Bibles, but it's like devil Bibles. It's crazy as hell. They let you yeah, they'll give it to you. If you go to the council lady and be like, can I get one of those little black books, the devil Bible? They have to send it to you. Man, this one guy had one. I looked through it. And it wasn't like evil. The things I read in there, but it was like, basically some, instead of somebody hitting you and you turn the other cheek, it says fuck that, you smash them or something. It's something like that, basically you don't let people run over you or something like that. That's the part I read. I don't know. But yeah, I couldn't believe it. And at the back of the Bible, I do remember this. At the back of it, it had like summoning circles and shit. I was like, hell no, I can't touch this. I'm trying to go home. I heard they cannibals too. Cannibalism. I can't say that word for some reason. They might. Shit, I don't know. I heard about this one thing where in Mexico, they believe in the old like witchcraft and stuff. So they were like kidnapping US tourists and stuff. And they were like the drug cartels, they wanted to get blessed or something. So they would hire a witch doctor or some kind of, I don't know the proper names. I just remember they would hire like a witch doctor kind of person. And they would like tie these people up and like sacrifice them to like give a blessing to the drug cartel and stuff. I was like, what the hell? Damn, you should have kept it and showed us these trinkets. What are you talking about? The devil Bible? I ain't keeping that shit. Hell no. I mean, you could probably look it up. Like if you Googled it, it'll probably show you what it looks like. Yeah, man, they believe in that kind of stuff. And matter of fact, the guy that I just interviewed, he was talking about some roots or something. I guess it's some black magic or something. I don't know. I never believed in that kind of stuff, but he seemed like it was real, when he was talking about it. He said he watched somebody put a curse on somebody, and then out of nowhere, the other person just like spazzed out and died. And he said that's what made him believe. The live is 10 o'clock Eastern time. So Eastern time, 10 o'clock. Yeah, praise Jesus. I was trying to go home. But a lot of people that believe that kind of stuff, they're just lost. For real, like the person that had that book, you can look at him. He had piercings everywhere and stuff, or he used to have piercings everywhere. He had a lot of tattoos too, and he didn't have anybody there for him. I think he was in there because some domestic violence. His girlfriend like said he did something or something, but he didn't have his family. He didn't have anybody. So when you feel alone like that, you'll go to anything. I guess. Ricky, I wouldn't doubt it. They probably would eat people if they believed it. Hell, I heard that they got that vampire cult, and like they be like in all the movies and stuff, and they really be like drinking blood and shit. Man, I wouldn't want to drink anybody's blood. All them diseases they got nowadays, they got fucking AIDS and all kinds of shit out there, hepatitis and all that. Yeah, but for people, I don't recommend anybody join a gang. And I believe if you're gonna make a life decision like that, you should really like think about it, long and hard. Because joining a gang is not one of the things you can just do and then you can come out the cell one day and be like, hey guys, I don't want to do this no more. I talked to my mom and she said it's not a good idea. So can we just take all that back? Hell no. You're going to become a target if you do stuff like that. And talking too much. That's another thing. Talking too much in jail and prison, worst thing you can do. Because I know like people that go to jail, they just had, whatever they went to jail for, something big happened in their life. So they want to talk to somebody about it. So, you might go in a cell with somebody and start, confining in that person, telling them all your business. Man, but nobody really wants to hear that shit. I'm telling you, you might have people that, use that information against you. I've seen that happen a lot. A lot. There are groups in prison that hunt and eat humans. I don't know about that. I ain't heard about that. I know that there is people in there that do hunt people. That is true, but I don't know about eating them. Like they'll hunt people like fucking predators. That's part I do know. There's some people in prison. That's how they get all their money. They just pick somebody and they try to extort them or whatever. Did your gang allow you to apart from them? No, hell no, they didn't. That's the thing about it. I see. This is what I did when I got out of prison. The first like week I was out, all my homeboys. I had some homeboys come to me. Matter of fact, somebody came over and gave me these shoes just for free. Right? They were trying to look out for me. They didn't answer the phone for me while I was in there, but when I got out, they was looking out for me. Don't ask me why, but they were trying to suck me back into the streets. I didn't want to go back to prison, so I just moved away. Just moved away. And there might be consequences for it. If I ever get locked up again, there could be consequences. That's why it's a dangerous thing to do. I don't show it often, but even if I go to prison and they don't know my backstory, I got like a crip. I got it across my stomach. So, if I take my shirt off and I'm taking a shower, other crips are going to see it. That might get me into some things. But I'm trying to like step back from it a little bit. I'm getting too old to be, running the streets and doing all that. Get too old for that shit. Yeah, a lot of gangs are for the weak, to be honest with you. A lot of people join gangs because, they want other people to fight their battles. I've seen people that when they're not around people, they're quiet as can be, but as soon as they're around 20 more gang members of their people, man, they're trying to hype stuff up. They're trying to do the most. It really is a weakness, Yeah, and fights are never fair in jail. I learned that the hard way. Man, I can't tell you how many times I got jumped in prison. Not prison, jail. I got more fights in jail than I did in prison. Because in jail, I was going to the hole every like fucking month. I remember that. But prison's more laid back. People got their time. But jail is, people are dealing with getting their time. They're stressing out. They're getting people leaving them. All that's happening in jail. The most stressful time you're ever going to have is going to be in jail. When you get to prison, you already know who's going to be there for you and who's not. Your girl's probably already left you and all that. Things are more chill. But I'm telling you, jail, yeah, they just want to be a part of something, kind of like a family. I've seen a lot of that. They might not have a family at the house, so they look up to like the big homie as a dad, And I ain't gonna lie, some of them big homies, they play the part. They try to be a father figure to some of them. They'll talk, they'll feed them every day, do all that. Jail got motherfuckers coming fresh off drug addiction. Yeah, that's another thing. People are just getting off the drugs and stuff, so they're going through withdrawals. I seen 3 white dudes. They were so bad. Like I think they were on that in Baltimore. They sell these pills. I don't know what it was. It's like Scrapple or whatever. I think it's heroin or something like that. But they were withdrawing so bad from it. They was up on the second tier and they was crushing stuff up. And I was like, damn, what the hell? They got powder or something up there? So I went up there and, I was like, what the hell you doing? He said, we crushed up Tylenol. They was up there sniffing Tylenol. What the fuck? I would hate to be locked up with a serial killer. I don't know. I would too. My first cellie, when I got to prison, he had one body. He killed one person. But I haven't been in a cell with somebody that killed, because a serial killer is like somebody that killed like three. I think you got to kill like three people to be a serial killer. Yeah, the Fetty 30s. There was this one guy. I did a story about it on my page. His name was Big Eyes, and he got locked up. And when I went out there for rec, he called me over to his door. I went over there, and he was telling me to go make a phone call for him and stuff. And he said he's gonna look out for me. I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I thought he was gonna give me some commissary or something, some food. So I was like, damn, I don't need food, but I'll go do it anyways. Man, I got back. He handed me this paper, and when I looked in it, it had Fetty in it, fentanyl. Man, when he got stopped by the police, he had a whole bunch of it, uncut. He had that, and he had the blueberries. That's what we used to call them, blueberries, the 30s. And he was starting to sell it in the jail, and people were ODing left and right. I did a story about this on my page, but that's when my homeboy Dro, he died from that shit. Yeah, it's crazy. Like back in the days, you can like dabble and stuff like that. You could do stuff like, but you can't do that nowadays. You can't, because it might be your first time trying some of that stuff, and you'll go out and you'll never wake up. It's scary. When I was younger, probably in like my 20s, I was dating this girl. She had a little brother that was probably like 15 or something. He used to come over and we used to play Guitar Hero and all this, just hang out and stuff. I remember like we used to play Guitar Hero all night and like just play jokes on it, pranks and stuff on each other. I remember I dared him to go outside and touch the mailbox naked, right? And when he went out there and went all the way out there and touched the mailbox, I locked the door. He came back and he was beating on the door trying to get in. We had a lot of good times. That's what I'm trying to say. And I found out like a couple years ago he died from drugs, from the fentanyl. I just thought it was so sad. I know a lot of people that died from the Fetty and stuff, man. It doesn't take a lot, you know. I'm afraid that I might lose my sister to it because, back in the day when I was messing with the perks and stuff like that, she was too. But now it evolved into something bad for her. I got clean. She didn't. And, she's on the streets right now, doing the most. Matter of fact, you seen there's this one famous basketball player, and everybody says he used to have millions of dollars, and now they show pictures of him, and he just looks really bad. That's every time I see my sister, it makes me think of that because I remember going into the house one day, and the rapper Boosie Badass, she was in there twerking for him and everything. I was like, she was on her phone, and she was twerking. I was like, what the hell are you doing, man? I was like, what the fuck? Because she used to be that pretty. But now it's got to a point where like the drugs have taken control and she looks older than me. You know, it's sad. Did you enjoy being for this? Hell no. Fuck. Yo, stop saying that homosexual stuff, man. No, I'm from Maryland. I did live in North Carolina though for a while. Yeah, but the drugs, I wouldn't don't even mess with that kind of stuff, man. Nothing good comes out of that. Because if you get hooked on that stuff, you're just gonna be chasing the high. It's never gonna be enough. Did you drop the soap on purpose? Yo, if one more person says that, I did see a funny skit on that just before I went live, and it was funny. But no, that doesn't happen in jail and prison. It really doesn't. Now you do got booty bandits up here, you know, but I think on the West Coast, I think it's worse out there. You know, you got people that are really into it, or it could be like a maximum security prison. There could be more booty bandits, but the prison I was at, like there was probably like one or two. I've been clean ever since I went to prison. It's been like it's been almost like 9 or 10 years. I haven't done nothing, and you know I feel great. Trying opiates was easily the worst decision I ever made in my life. Yeah, you know, because the opiates, you're thinking, hey, it can't be that bad. You know, it ain't like I'm doing crack. That's what everybody thinks. But man, I'm telling you, it's just as bad. Felice Johnson, yeah, that's the dude. That's the old guy, the booty bandit guy. Yeah. Nah, I don't smoke. For some reason, even when I was younger, you know, back when I was doing the street life and stuff, I used to sell it. But you know, every time somebody would peer pressure me into doing it, man, I'm a paranoid person, and it used to just amplify it, man, really bad. And now that you know I've been out of prison, man, I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I smoke a little bit of grass, and you would think I just smoked a rock or something. I'll probably be paranoid as hell. Yeah, my leg it did heal. You know, the doc it was scary because the doctor told me, you know, hold on, I'll tell you. I don't know if you can see it that good. Oh, let me turn on the screen. I don't know if you can. God damn it. I don't know if you can see it that good. Yeah, it was all down my leg. They had to do surgery on it. It took me like 2 years before I could walk again. I ain't gonna lie, that shit hurts. It hurts to this day. You know when you jump up in the air and like you're laying wrong on your leg, it feels like that all the time. It's crazy. Did you meet Bubba? Hell no, I didn't meet no Bubba. Yeah, and you know I was super nervous about doing surgery because I told you guys I'm paranoid, right? And I heard a story about people that go in anesthesia. Sometimes they go to sleep and never wake up. And I was for sure that was going to happen to me. I was like, shit, man. I was laying in the surgery bed. I was all nervous. I didn't want to. I went to sleep. I'm going back. Like, my luck was so. Were you PO? A PO? A parole officer? Hell no, I wasn't no PO. I could never be a PO. I don't think they'd ever hire me to be a PO. Hell no. Anesthesia messed my mental state up for a while, made me crazy. Yeah, see, I heard a lot of bad stuff about it, so I was nervous about doing it. Well, to be honest with you, I'm stepping back from everything. All with the street life and stuff, I step back from that. I'm more doing the family thing right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm too young to be running the streets and doing all that. You know. Thank you for that. I don't even know what that is. What's a J cat? Does anybody know what a J cat is? What's a JCat? Oh yeah, I seen that where the government released a whole bunch of alien files. That shit does crazy. Yo, I always knew that aliens were real, right? Because we're a little planet, you know, we're out here in the fucking big ass space. There's gotta be something else, right? JCat is a prison slang that is used in some correctional system. I've never heard of that. That's crazy. A guy that's on psych meds? No, I wouldn't know no psych meds. I guess that's how I never heard of it. A lot of people, they're not really on those meds. They would get medicine, right? And then they would fucking sell them. Oh, okay, yeah. It's basically a junkie. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, I could believe that, John Doe, that they're in the oceans. I could believe that because you know I could. But that's the worst thing you could do. Go to prison and be a J in prison. One of the worstest things you can do, man. Cause like doing drugs on the streets and doing drugs in prison is two different things. Man, on the streets, they might be cheap as hell, but in there, man, you gotta be a millionaire to get high every day in there. Like, for instance, Suboxone on the streets, you can buy it for like $5, right? You go in prison and that same little strip might cost $300. I'm not even bullshitting you. People become rich off of doing this. That's why you see so many CEOs taking risk, you know, to get in on this. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. You become a J in prison, man. Somebody's liable to take your cheeks. Like I've seen people literally, you know, just to get high in prison, they would have gave it up. You know, I seen this one dude. He made a joke one day. He was in the kitchen. I mean, he was in the he was by the microwave doing rec, right? He was sitting there. Somebody was begging him for some K2 or something. I forgot what it was. But he made this joke. He was like, "Man, you own that stuff so bad, I could tell you right now to give me some of that and you do it." He's like, "No, no, I wouldn't." But you know he would. Nah, Scrapple is heroin mix. Yeah, the trank didn't hit Baltimore too. Yeah, see, I didn't know what was in that, but I knew it was like heroin and Fetty or something like that. But man, that stuff down here is bad. Like I was working at what was it, FedEx? Yeah, I was working at a FedEx warehouse where you're like packaging packages up, and it was this dude. I went to school with him and stuff, and like down here, like the FedEx people, they'll send a bus to come pick you up if you didn't have transportation. So I'd always see him at the bus stop going to work. I'll be hanging out with him, and every time we get off work, he's so excited about getting some of those pills. And I asked him one day, I was like, "Man, what the hell is in that shit?" And he was like, "Freddy and stuff like that." He said something about sometimes they do put like tranquilizer stuff in it, but I don't know. I don't know nothing about that stuff. You know, I know it messes people up though, because like those caps, it's the caps you can just open it yourself. You ever seen the pills where like you can just open it and the powder pours out, or you can like put any powder you want into it and to close it, and it would look like you never touched it. That's what they do, man. Somebody can put something in it. You don't know what you're getting. I'm pretty sure a lot of people got beat because of that. You know, they'll take out the real drugs and put some fake stuff in there. You know what I'm saying? What do someone even do? Doesn't it just make you sleep? I don't know what it does. I think it's some high. I anytime he went to go do that stuff, I wasn't near him because you know I don't mess with that stuff. My first night in prison, I ain't gonna lie, I was nervous as hell. I was nervous. You know, I remember going into the cell and my cellie, I had to get to know him because I'm be living with this guy, you know, and I didn't know that he killed somebody. I didn't know that until a couple months later on. But when I first seen him, I was like, damn, this dude young as hell. Because he was only like 24 or something like that. And I mean, we kicked it off pretty good. We was in there chilling and stuff. We ended up getting a game system later on. But that first night, man, you're in a new place. You don't know nobody. So you're just like, you just sit back and, you try not to talk too much. You just want to observe and listen. That's your biggest weapons in there. Even when you go out for rec, you don't want to talk to people. You want to get in the corner or you want to just be posted up somewhere. And you just want to be looking around, and listening. That's going to be your main weapons in there. What surprised me the most in prison, man, just how easy it is to lose your life. Just easy, man. Like I've seen people, they be getting into it with people. And every day we got to go to chow. They 3 times a day they're gonna open your door. Well, breakfast, they bring your breakfast to you sometimes, but your door is gonna open. And if you want to eat, you gotta go to chow. You gotta walk down this sidewalk and go to the cafeteria. And that's when people be getting hit all the times because you got other people from different buildings. And just watching how easy it is, because the COs are not going to stop somebody from stabbing you. They're there for afterwards. You know, I never seen a time where a CO stopped the stabbing. I never seen it. The stabbing usually happens, and then the COs usually come in and try to get things under control. But you're not protected in there at all, at all. Suboxone is an opiate blocker. Yeah, it is an opiate blocker. But in prison, they be getting high off that stuff, man. I'm telling you, they be getting high as hell off that stuff. And they'll take like a strip and they'll cut like a piece off of it, and they'll sell it for like $3. Put it on a spoon and all that, sniff it. Don't ask me how it gets you high. I don't know how they abuse it, but it works, I guess, because they're making millions off this stuff. And then the crazy thing about it is, some of the jails, they have a program where they give you Suboxone. Like some of these jails, if you go in there and you tell them you're taking Suboxone on the streets, they'll call you for med call. Like there's a time, like when med times comes in, the nurse will come in with her cart, and then you go over to her. Or I think when they're doing Suboxone, they call you outside somewhere, and they give it to you, and they usually make you put it in your mouth, and they watch you do it to make sure. Because some people like to take it back and to sell it and stuff. They'll keep it under. They'll try to cheek it, and they'll bring it back to the pod. Because I'm telling you, one strip, they can get like $100 worth of commissary for it. What's one thing you would change about prison to lower crime? Man, just like one thing I would change about prison is giving people like more opportunities to do stuff. Like, okay, if somebody was stealing all the time, like if they go to prison, why wouldn't you teach them instead of making them sit in a cell all day? Teach them like a job trade or something, and then like give them a certificate so when they get out, they can go and like if you teach them welding and stuff, and then they get out and they got a certificate for welding, they can go get a job at a welding place. Welders make a lot of money. If some of these people had jobs like that, they wouldn't even fucking need to do some of the stuff. I'd remove the TVs. Why though? I ain't gonna lie, barely anybody watches the TVs in there. In prison, you got tablets. They give tablets to every prisoner, inmate. So like you got Pluto TV. Pluto TV is kind of like Netflix, but like a poor version of it. Like instead of Stranger Things, they got stuff that was on like in 2010, and they got music. They got music on it. Yeah, but they got to pay for it though. I ain't gonna lie. Just like Netflix, you got to pay like $15 a month for to use the tablets. They give you the tablet, but they got a free version. The free version sucks because basically the free version, the only thing you got on there is a law library, and the law library is just old cases. It's just old cases that just a whole bunch of old cases. That's all it is, and that's basically it on it. And you got the paid version where it's like $15 a month or something like that. Sports gambling with commissary is the hustle. Yeah, they did a lot of that. I remember football season. I used to always do the raffle. Pink or brown? Pink, not brown. Tattoo guns. Why do you, why you don't read my chats? Why you don't read my what'd you say? I'm scrolling up. I don't see anything you said. Hold on. Did you drop out of high school? Oh, my bad for not seeing that. It'd be so many chats, you know. Yeah, I dropped out of high school. And I wish I wouldn't have. If I would have known what I know now, I probably wouldn't have. Because I did go back and get my GED and stuff like that. But I was living with my dad, and then when I got sent to live with my mom, she just never re me back into school, and I didn't want to go to school anyway, so I just didn't go. But later in life, you kind of need that diploma and stuff to get a normal job. But yeah, Aaron, my bad about that. That's that question. What happens if someone stole or broke your tablet? Yo, I ain't gonna lie. If people would rent out their tablets. Like, a lot of people hustle and stuff, right? Say you don't have any kind of hustle at all. You got a tablet, you can rent it out. Cause some people their tablets break. And when your tablets break, you gotta put a slip in. And they got a tablet repair guy. He'll come in and ask you for your tablet. It take them months to fix this thing. So you watching everybody else, they're on their tablets watching TV and stuff, and you got to sit there without one. So you can go and rent somebody else's tablet because a lot of people can't afford the premium version, so they're just never on their tablets. So if you offer somebody like, hey, I'll give you $10 a week if you let me use your tablet, they do that in there. Can you go to school in prison? Yeah, they got GED classes in there. Matter of fact, if you don't got your high school diploma, they force you to go to GED classes. But I don't see why you wouldn't want to go because you get time off your sentence, you know. And if you don't go, you just be sitting in your cell all day. That gives you a chance to get up and put your clothes on and go outside and enjoy the fresh air. Because when you're in prison, you don't just get to go out the building whenever you want to. The only way you get to go outside, they got a bubble. It's basically a bubble is in the middle of the prison. It's where the CO is. It's like a circle, and it's got glass around it. The kind you can't break. And he sits in there, and he sees all the cameras and everything. He controls all the doors, all the cell doors, and everything. He controls everything. He's on the speaker and all that. You have to get permission to go outside, and usually in the morning time, they pass around these little slips. I forgot what they're called. I think they call ducats or something like that. They pass around these slips, and it will tell you if you got religious service or maybe a Muslim or Muslim service or anything. It will tell you you got to be at this place at 3 o'clock. And when you go out, you got to show your ducat to the CO, and he will open the door and let you out. So yeah, you can't just leave whenever you want to. Damn, yo. I just accidentally added somebody as a moderator on accident, man. Fuck. I don't even know who I added as a moderator. Are you gang friends still alive? I ain't gonna lie. There's a lot of my homies that died. Like I told a story about one of them. His name, what was his name? Fucking damn, I forgot his damn name. I only knew Slim, my homie Slim. I was in jail, right? He didn't even get to prison. We was in jail, and I known him from the streets, but like I ain't really know him. It's kind of one of the things where you just see him around and you know his name. But when we got to jail, we started talking and stuff. We talked more, and he got out early. He was in there for like a BOP, probation violation. He got out, and later I learned that he died on Jonathan Street in Hagerstown. And it was crazy because he got shot. He didn't overdose or nothing. They shot and killed him because the gang shit. But he was a G Stone Crip, and G Stones are usually in New York. Never touch Mike again. Much love from. Thank you for that, Jonah Gray. They call. Yeah, welcome home, man. If you just came home in July, man, try to stay home because it ain't worth going back. Hell no. I ain't gonna lie. I'll be having flashbacks. I'll be sitting here and I'll just have flashbacks of being in prison and jail, and it'll keep me on a straight and narrow. Because I remember times sitting in that cold, dark cell and just sitting there on my bunk and just sitting there all day, just sitting there thinking, like, damn, I never want to fucking come back here again. And you can't change nothing. We kind of like when we're out here and enjoying the freedom, we can take advantage of this stuff because what the heck? What the heck? Okay, there it goes. I am in Hagerstown every weekend. It's crazy how shit is getting. Yeah, it's crazy. They're starting to call it Little Baltimore. That's how bad it's getting. Watched your last interview. Good job, man. Can't wait for the one tomorrow. Yeah, thank you for that, Maria. Thank you for the support. Yeah, that was a good story. The interview, that was a good story. I wish I would have. I wish that I could have, did it like how I usually do all my interviews, where you guys can see our faces. Because I feel like if it's just, a static picture, that maybe some people ain't gonna want to hear it. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm good. How long you been out? I've been out for it's almost been 2 years. Probably like a year and 8 months, I think. Somewhere around there. But I'm telling you, that first day getting out, that was the best feeling. Man, you know how somebody's on drugs real bad and they chase that high? That first time they get high? Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what my internet is acting crazy. But yeah, that was a high on itself. Yeah, but I'm working on the videos that I'm working on now, I'm working on another interview. The one interview that I did with the trans inmate, um, what's her name? Case the doll. Yeah, she's from TikTok. I did an interview with her, and I'm adding like video and stuff to it. John Poet Thor in the building. John, yo, do I keep cutting out? Yeah, I know it's lagging bad. I'm about to just end the stream. I don't know what's up with that. Oh, they forgot to pay the internet bill earlier, and they just got to cut back on. So it's like acting weird. Ever since it got cut back on, it's been acting weird. I might have to reset the router box or something. Hey, that's a good idea, John. You should do another interview, and this time give us the clean version, the all suited up. I want you looking like Tony Montana the next time we do a interview. Yeah, that jailhouse internet. Yeah, that's what it feels like. Yeah, but I'm working on that. And I'm working on a story right now. So I'm trying to get that out to you guys. I don't want to rush it because, you know, I feel like I got to put a new video out every day, but I want to work on the quality. So it might take a couple of days to put that one out. Because if I ain't gonna lie, if I release one more video and it only gets like 50 views, yo, I'm not doing that. I'm like, damn, I'm trying to release so many videos, but maybe my quality's dropping or something. Maybe I just need to like work on one video for like 3 or 4 days instead of rushing them out. I just got off the AT hiking for over 2 months. I'm getting a haircut this week. Yo, you be seeing bears and stuff out there? Yeah, I couldn't be hiking by myself, man. I don't know how you do it, especially at nighttime. I'd be thinking the damn Bigfoot's outside or something. Why are you a criminal, my G? Yeah, I'm at this the internet's too laggy right now. But I want to thank everybody for coming. And yeah, the interview's gonna be tomorrow. And oh yeah, get back to me, man. I didn't see any bears. Cause I'm trying to do another interview with you. If you want to. Jay Williams next. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. The Jay Williams interview tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And he did say he's gonna do a live with me, so that's cool. Yeah, I appreciate y'all coming. Cool Jay. Stay cool, man. And if you ain't subbed, please sub and like the video, please. It helps out a lot. But I'm tuning out, man. Guys.